Connections Homes is a nonprofit organization based in Georgia, and their mission is to help youth ages 18 to 24 who are aging out of the foster care system. Their goal is to help them get matched to a mentoring family who can help support them along their journey. Typically, youth after they age out wouldn't be able to get any more assistance from the foster care system, so this can help them have a more stable base.
Thank you, Caleb. As for our stakeholders for this project, as we said, our sponsor is Connections Homes, the founder and CEO, Pam Parrish. The other primary contact we had at the beginning is Grant's relationship manager, Jennifer Duncan from the Jackson Family Foundation. You would have seen that presentation if you were at the keynote portion. And our technology specialist is Kristen Bendari, so she was helping us with all of the database work as we got started on the project. For our user base for the project, we have relationship managers at Connections Homes. We'll be referring to them as RMs. So RMs and Connections Homes will be able to use filters and searching functionality to access the detailed information for both youth and entering families. And RMs and Connections Homes will be able to prioritize different details to ensure the best possible match using the tool for a youth. And for our team, we have development manager and squad lead, Caleb Marcoux. We have our product manager, Jacob Slope. Our front-end developers are Alexis Linhart, Jack Lee, and also Caleb Marcoux. And back-end developers, we have myself, Haley Shaw, Rainier Sariel, and Jacob Slope.
Moving into the problem and opportunities for this project, currently, relationship managers, when they want to match a youth with a family, they have to do it manually. So they would use primarily spreadsheets and their current knowledge of the youth and families available in the system to complete that process. That leads to a lot of reliance on their current knowledge and memory and use of a gut feeling for who would be good rather than relying on concrete numbers. And that will also make it far more difficult for Connections Homes to scale as an organization as the operation gets bigger. So our goal is to make a program that allows Connections Homes relationship managers to more easily and quickly and concretely, based on data, match youth to families. In addition, the RMs still need to be able to use their intuition and have the final say in which families get matched to which youth and which attributes should be weighted more highly in a match for a given youth and family combination so that we can find the best fit between a youth and a mentoring family.
And as for our solution built, for a more technical side of it, it's built primarily using JavaScript and C#. So JavaScript is what we use for the front end. So we developed a web application using React, and this is hosted on AWS Amplify, AWS being Amazon Web Services. We used a lot of their services for this project as it was, we had one of the sponsors was AWS certified, so we were able to accept his help and just get most of it set up on AWS so that all of the parts of the project fit together well. For the backend code, we use C# for that. That is stored on an AWS Lambda function. So the Lambda function mainly just acts as a serverless hosting environment so that the code is only called when it's being used rather than being constantly hosted. And that is called via an API gateway by the front end. And then RMs can sign into the application with AWS Cognito accounts. This does need to be specially configured with their Connections Homes information for security purposes so that they can access the data that only they need to.
So going into our actual solution built here is a screenshot of our application. When you first log into the application, you will be brought to this page, which is the dashboard page. As you can see at the very top, there's a search bar so that they can search for a particular youth or family easily. Below that on the dashboard page, there are tabs. You can see there are 3 tabs. There's Ready, there's Matches, and there's All. That allows relationship managers to quickly access youth that are in particular categories as well as families. And below that, for easier filtering down to be more precise, we have filters. There are several filters available based on the status and region of the youth or family. We can also filter to only show youth or only show family, and also show all youth and family in the system or only the youth and families particular to that logged in RM. Once we've found the person that we're looking for, we can click on their icon there to take us to their matching page and begin the matching process for them. Once we fill out the criteria for this particular match, we can press the match button, and the algorithm will return some potential matching families to us as results. The most important number you can see there on the right-hand side, very large, is the score for that match with that particular family and the youth we're considering. That is an aggregated number that represents how well all of their individual survey responses match with the family responses. At the top of this card, we can see some basic family information of the family that this match is relating to. Below that, you can see in bold letters an important note about this match. That's something we want to make sure the RM notices. In this case, it's that the distance between that youth's current location and the family's current location where they're living is 255 miles. So that may not be a good match because they're really far apart. Below that, we can see each of the individual survey responses that the youth and families gave. The green ones are positive, meaning that they primarily matched their responses, and the red ones are negative, meaning they primarily did not match. On the left, we can see what the survey question was, which attribute we're considering. The blue column represents the family's responses, and the orange column represents the youth's responses, which makes it very easy to compare how the families and the youth answered the survey and make sure they are going to be a good fit. Once they find a family that they think would be a good match for this youth, or potentially multiple families, they can check in that checkbox below the number all of the families they would like to create a match for and press the match button. This will allow them to send the match to the youth for consideration.
And as for the value and highlights of our project, one of the main values is that RMs can quickly find youth and families that share common attributes. While the algorithm's not going to be a perfect indicator of which youth and which families will work well together, and there still needs to be that human intervention, it does give a quick, just here's some relevant families that we think would work for a youth. It is easy to use and displays information better than a spreadsheet, so they're not parsing through rows and rows of data, and instead they're presented with nice looking cards that show all the information that's relevant. And it puts a number behind their intuition, so it's nice to see, oh yes, this family has a higher score than this family for these reasons, and then they can look through and get the reasoning behind it as well. The highlights, we have a fast runtime, so again, this just helps with the speed of getting this work done. It'll take a lot less time at pulling up the matches and then going through just those top ones rather than parsing through all of the families. It is low cost, like I mentioned with the AWS Lambda. We've taken a bunch of precautions to try and lower the cost for the sponsors since they are a nonprofit. And we do have a stylish GUI, we'd like to say. It looks nice, it's easy, the information's nicely represented, and yeah. And are there any questions from anybody?
Yes.
We'll get you a mic, sorry.
Is it just for the foster care system, not for like adoptions, or will it be like that you'll sell this to other entities or facilities to do that?
Yeah, so there is talk of licensing this out for other organizations. Currently, it is mostly for fostering just because we have them fill out a survey about what they'd like, and it's a lot easier to do that for youth who are age 18 to 24 rather than young kids. Matching that based off of survey responses for young kids, I think, would be a little bit less ideal for that, but or a little more difficult.
Suggestion. Mm-hmm. So we're in a process of adoption. So okay. You could do it based on the parental advice or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Who's giving you their kid.
Right. Just it wouldn't be implemented the exact same way, but yeah, we could definitely do something like that. Are there any other questions from anybody? All right. Well, thank you for listening to our presentation. We hope that you enjoyed.